Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Mandalorian review, season 3, episode 2. I'm the Chongalorian, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by
I'm the spelunking Kirklin Patzer.
I'm the shallows, Taylor Field.
In the Shadows. There's a good movie.
Is that a
Star is
movie or
Born.
song?
Both of
Okay.
them, this movie and the song, both good
Okay.
things, But anyways, we are here to review episode. I already said that. We're here talking about Mando. It's week 2 of season 3. Mando. Yeah, no grief, no brief, whatever you want to call him. No cargo in this one, but we got an episode nonetheless. We're gonna talk about Taylor Field. Where can they find all this stuff? We got lots of reviews and content popping on the feed this week.
Yeah, this week is just going balls to the walls. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook.
GeekVerse is our Facebook. Technically, it's Geek. Oh yeah, it's just GeekVerse. You speak.
Oh, I
GeekVerse
know. I've been doing it
podcast,
long
but-
enough. I know the plugs.
Doing long enough. Yeah. When is what's next poll drop? Or are those retired? Are those, if
They're
retired,
never retired. They're never retired.
Just hibernating, sleeping,
we're
waiting
go-
for its chance
I-
to strike.
I told the fan base on Facebook that another one's going to be creeping out at some point. I just need to.
Like
I
the
need
guy
to get
from
in that right.
Parasite.
I need. Yeah, I
That's
need
the
to
next poll.
Yeah, coming up. Bro, a Parasite poll.
just
holy
a Parasite
shit.
poll with the 8 characters.
No,
and
it's coming
Dog
up.
Kong the kid wins or whatever. Dog Quan or his name is. I can't remember, but
You're close.
how is it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
not gonna
see?
attempt.
Yeah, that's fair. I tried.
You're a
But
bigger
yeah.
man than me.
A lot of stuff. We just did a Geek First newscast yesterday, but that included the Golden Geeks winner. Lots of some really good choices on there, so that's gonna be fun once people hear that. And yeah, we got a Scream review, 65 review, Last of Us, Last finale is happening this weekend, so check that out. Parasite review will be dropping at some point this week in honor of the Oscars. And that's pretty much everything. Lots of stuff. Potential week geek happening. Dylan has another side quest. So let's get into this. I'll go first. I usually like to say my thoughts. But I'll go first. That fun episode, good adventure episode. I think it's one of those where it's like, hey, you want to see Star Wars? You want to see crazy stuff? You want to go on an adventure? It does that. So, and I will credit Taylor that we'll get into spoilers that something's happened that I'm happy it happened. I don't know where we're gonna be going next, but I'm happy they happened. So I will say that it's one of these episodes that I feel like it was similar to. Remember last season we got that episode that Peyton Reed directed where it was like the ice planet and they had those creatures and stuff like that. I think it was very similar to that, but I preferred that one a lot more. So I'd say in that comparison, that's kind of where I am. So I think it's a good solid adventure episode, but I think it's kind of like what I always talk about the show where that's just what it is. There's nothing really story to gleam on here. There's some things in spoilers I can't really talk about with Mando and what they do with him because hence my name, the Chongalorian. That's what I'm comparing him to. Like Cheech and Chong, he's now Chong. Like he says a few things in this episode where I'm like, what? And then a few things happen. He's just like, I'm sorry, my dude's a fucking idiot. Like he's maybe he's been hit in the head too many times over the adventures, but so many things. These like just what they make what happens in this episode is just it's comedic now. I get a good laugh out of that, but I think there was some fun tension in there. The minor spoiler, Bo-Katan's in this episode, and I think she's great, has a great showing. I think this is just like a really good action type episode. I don't think there's anything else, and that's not a bad thing. You can have those type of episodes where it is just like a thrilling ride or something like that, but I think it's one where I don't think I'll remember as much as that one from last season, which was more, like I said, just an action movie, but the intensity was better. I didn't agree with everybody about, not everybody, I guess some people on our Discord and other people brought up that the episode was really dark. I didn't feel it was really dark. I feel there were some sections that were really dark, and I am with everybody where I'm just sick and tired of TV shows and movies just doing this thing where it's like, if you can't make nighttime look good, let's not do nighttime. Just make it fucking daytime. Make fucking Mando's ship have like the biggest lights in the world. So a solid episode that I enjoyed, but I like Taylor messaged me and he was like, holy shit. And I was like, what? And he says, why? I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't have that moment where it's like, oh, it's holy shit. It was just like, okay. I think there's other episodes, like the one I mentioned, the episode from season 2 when we meet Boba Fett for the first time. Like there's other like action-centric episodes in Mandalorian that I like better than this one. But it's a solid adventure nonetheless.
Right on. Yeah, I thought for I thought for the vast majority of this episode, it was really solid. I had a fun time watching this. I think I've kind of like calibrated now for like watching the show too, of just expecting kind of a slower paced adventure. And that's not to say that there isn't like some fun action sequences. This episode alone has multiple that I think were done really good.
I
but
feel like
just,
you've calibrated a lot throughout this show. I feel like you calibrate.
well, like every
and then it gets to a
season,
certain
I have
quality,
to
you're like,
readjust.
oh, and then you're like, oh no, I'm gonna go back here. Like I feel like you've not a bad time. I feel like you've said this a few times. But like, okay, now that I think I know what the show is, you know,
it's
just-
usually like second episode or so. Get ready for the season, especially because there's so much time between the seasons. I feel like I haven't really been rewatching like the previous seasons too. So it's just like, I don't know, going from a show like Andor to Boba Fett, like those are very different, and then throwing Mando in the mix too. Like they are all very different shows. But I think that this particular episode was really fun. There was a lot of stuff that we discovered that or maybe explored is a better term, and I have never seen that before. So for me, that was really new and exciting. Grogu's just awesome. As we all know, that's like just the one consistent throughout this entire like series is Grogu's just adorable, and I love the I mean, yeah, it's always been this case, but just like the fact that they have Grogu as like a puppet and they have like a puppeteer doing it like, okay, it might look a little bit stiff in his movement sometimes, but it's just so Star Wars to have that. I feel like just thinking back to like the original like showing of like Yoda, and I feel like they're just staying true to that, which is really cool, even though we're decades later from that initial showing of a character like that, and here we are, and they still have the actual puppets, not just relying on the CGI characters. So I had a fun time with this one. I think there was some moments that kind of dragged on that really wasn't too necessary in my opinion. We probably could have shortened this episode a little bit, but all in all, it was fun. I feel like the fact that I'm just so like on a high for Pedro right now too, like Last of Us, the unbearable weight of massive talent, and now here, like it's great to just have his voice on this character that is, might be a little Chongalorian sometimes, like Travis's name, but I still think like the look of him and like the theme that he's got, it's just it is still hitting that kind of badass meter in my opinion. So
is it?
I
feel
think
like I'm happy for you. That is. I just feel like with each episode, it's starting to go down more and more, and like that's happened to me before. But like this episode, especially, there's just some moments where it's like, what's this dude's deal? Like, why is he a badass? Like, why? But
I don't think he's quite like Simple Fett level, Simple
No.
John or something. Maybe we'll get
but
there.
he's getting there. I feel like this season he's starting to get there, especially because like the last thing they wrote was that season. Like, remember we got season 2 of Mando, then we got Boba Fett. It's the same people, so that's my worry that they just. I feel there's some tendencies where it's just like the same reason we would question Boba, why would he do that, or why they make him act like that, or do these things. I feel like that's the same thing Mando's happening between both these episodes, but
Mando's got his helmet on too tight or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, go on, but we'll save it. But
yeah.
Taylor, you enjoy this episode? Favreau and Filoni playing with their toys. Pretty much, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, like I think that after rewatching the first episode, I watched with Madison again, and I thought, you know what? Fuck these haters. I love this episode. It just went up on the scale for me.
You're
Like,
just in
holy
denial.
No, there was a lot of like juicy stuff that I actually really appreciated that episode. And then segueing into this one now, I was just riding that high. I thought, okay, this is great. Like, especially because like I'm sure what you were hinting at, the thing that you're happy with, that I'm also happy with too, that we're going to be moving on in certain regards into episode 3. But I'm very happy that we are at now this point in the story. And just what we got in this episode, there were a nice few pleasant surprises that I wasn't expecting. And when I, in retrospect, watch the Mandalorian trailer and I see, okay, a lot of what we've been shown in the trailers has pretty much been shown and advertised in these episodes now, the first 2 episodes, which is great because I think, okay, this is nice because now we're at that point where we're going to get juicy storyline stuff that we haven't seen yet before and all that. Like the stuff that they consider is, cool and should not be in the trailer and hidden. That's the stuff I like because it's always it's usually a good time for what we get to see. So I'm very satisfied with this episode, and while Mandalorian definitely does do some questionable things,
he does nothing that's not questionable. Nothing that's not questionable.
I'm totally okay with him being like not a perfect character. Like he's 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 still a rookie. Like he's no Bo-Katan. Like Bo-Katan, just time and time again, is just a
When's
badass.
he not a rookie? He's been a Mandalorian his entire life. Like, when's he not a rookie? Pedro Pascal's older than Katie Sackhoff, I'm pretty sure as well. Even though it doesn't make any sense.
In that
They
sense,
say-
it doesn't matter though in Star Wars. Like the actors and actresses in Star Wars, that's
Din Djarin is 23 years old.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's
and
probably what they're
apparently
going for, yeah.
Bo-Katan's 7 years old. It's like, yeah, fucking all right.
Amazing. But I think that it again goes to show like they can create this adventure and they can just have like these curveballs thrown in there, and this episode was a great time because it had so many different aspects that reminded me of specific Clone Wars things that I've allotted in certain compartments of my mind. I thought, okay, this is great just to kind of get this theme revisited and just kind of showcase new things that we haven't seen before. That's always the nice thing. If you could do something new in Star Wars, but make it feel Star Wars, then kudos to you for doing that instead of just kind of piggybacking off of classic Star Wars, like something we've already had countless times, or like, oh, here's a Trandoshan there, a Rodian here, kind of a thing. Like, it's cool, it's classic Star Wars, but give us something new and fresh, and that's what they did in this episode, so good on them.
As Bubs, shut the fuck up. I don't want a Palo Moto standalone episode. I don't need no Miss Frizzle standalone episode. That better not be some rumors going around. If I get some episode like Boba Fett where it's just a 45-minute Miss Frizzle, oof, your boy's going to be heard in that review. But let's get into spoilers. So if you've not seen it, bow out now and come back later, and we will be right here. And we're back. So, yeah, let's start off with Miss Frizzle because we're back on Tatooine. We're getting the pod racers. I'm sure Taylor at Midnight's doing flips. Look at the pod racers. Look at them go.
Eve, let's go.
Yeah, so they're chasing stuff like that. I don't know. We got the scene of Miss Frizzle. She's looking around. Now, I could have missed it. I've watched it twice because I watched it last night. Again, I fell asleep, and then I watched it in the morning, and then I watched it like live-wise. Like, okay. Did I miss, because I can't remember, I think it was maybe Superbad Mike, someone on our Discord brought up did he really just give up on IG-11 that quickly? Like, did he just, because the whole idea is he has to get a part, right? And then he gets this other droid, he sees Miss Frizzle. Is that storyline just... I don't think it's
too early to tell. I think it's too early to tell. I don't think he's going to be keeping R5. I think R5 is going to go back, and maybe he'll take R5 back to Miss Frizzle and be like, hey, all of a sudden the Jawas are back and we got your part now, because the Jawas were going off to get like pulled back, but there wasn't enough time. He had to leave and all that kind of stuff. So I think that storyline is definitely going to be repicked up upon.
They better. Like, even though last week I know I gave it crap because it's a silly storyline, I still think it is, his friend and all, but if they did that 15 minutes of this IG-11 storyline and then they just don't touch upon it again, that'll hurt me even more so. But yeah, I guess
I wouldn't even be surprised though if they went that route, because
I wouldn't be surprised.
I was in the non-spoiler, I was shouting out how I just love seeing Grogu on there. It's so happy to see him, but every time I see him, especially his like awesome Mandalorian chain armor, and it's so epic, I just remember the Luke moment, and I'm like, why was that even in the show? I just get like a little reminder and a little bit upset. It was like a quick little I don't know, a short burst of happiness where, like, in that moment it was awesome, but like now going forward throughout the rest of the show, it's just this like cloud above me, and like especially that character, like Grogu and him and Mando together. It's like, this is so cool, but I cannot believe that like we went through this situation where Luke like took him, and it was so emotional, and it was, again, I'm like just repeating. I'll probably just like keep popping off every once in a while.
It comes up every time.
Season,
Grogu.
Yeah.
And like, it's funny. Like, I'm jumping a little bit in the middle, but like you get to Grogu, right? And like without so luckily Taylor was right. We got to the Mandalorian mines, the water bathing, everything like that in episode 2. So I applaud him, and I hope now, because I said, that's not really a story that interests me for a whole season. That's episode 2. We're presumably done. Okay, now I still want to see like what the actual story is for the season, and hopefully the trailers did hide.
We won't get it
stuff.
next episode. I think next episode, and this is judging by the trailers, we see Mando flying in a ship with R5 still in the back. This background looks like Mandalore,
so
and who is there? The pirate captain is in his capital ship and behind him, and Mando's like flying off. That was a scene from the trailer, and I'm pretty convinced
played by the
great.
It's
just I slipped my mind all of a sudden. Gosh,
Anaro and Enzo, whatever that guy was, that Taylor was like, look at this big actor. But anyways, so I'm happy about that. So yeah, Taylor's right, but still we got a couple more episodes. So obviously we'll have like 5 after that. So I'm excited to see where we go, and hopefully it is a good main hook. But we get this, right? Without Grogu, without Bo-Katan, Mandalorian's dead 3 times in this episode, like 3 separate times, and it's just so frustrating that this guy just. I'm fine with a character struggling, and it doesn't matter that much because I don't like love Mandalorian like the character, but there's just moments where that machine gets him, and I love the design of that machine. Very cool. I don't know what it is. Very sci-fi, very almost like Blade Runner, but he gets him, and that one I was kind of fine with. I was like, okay, from out of nowhere that happened. And then where I get my Chongalorian moment is, so he's locked up and Grogu tries to get him and he can't. And then he tries to force, drops the thing and the machine sees him and he has to run, right? What is Mandalorian's last words to Grogu?
Like Bo-Katan.
Yes, okay. So Yoda or whatever, Grogu, he gets in the ship, he flies to Bo-Katan, who's still just sitting in her chair, looking at the ground. Like, what does she do? Like, she does nothing. But okay,
She's
fine.
adjusted her body a little bit from last
a
time.
little bit. He lands, and she's like, I'm gonna really like. They insinuate that she's gonna like kill him. Like, she's like, that's it.
I'm gonna tell him off.
Yeah, but what happens is she says a line that's like, we're gonna finish him. We're gonna finish this. And then when she gets on the catwalk, it's just like, what did I tell you last time? I wasn't lying. Like, it's just like, okay, nothing, not a big threat. So anyways, they fly Bo-Katan. Fun moments. I like her and Grogu's back and forth, stuff like that. We get the line that I've been waiting for the whole season 2 we'll get to. But anyways, Bo-Katan and Grogu get to Mando, right? Din. What is the first thing Din says? Why are you here? How'd you get here? And then it's like, oh, well, the little guy told me to come here. And he's like, oh, yeah. And it's just like, literally, Mando told Grogu, go get Bo-Katan. And when Bo-Katan shows up, he's like, why are you here? How'd you get here?
He was getting drained, man. He was losing his fluids.
He was pretty fucked up. He was drugged too. He was drugged multiple times.
It's just like they can't give him the sanity to be like, oh, good, Grogu got here. They have to give him this fucking thing and fine, whatever. But it fits my narrative. This guy's no fucking.
It's like getting your wisdom teeth pulled out, except way fucking worse.
He's on T3s.
Yeah. And then this guy later on, he's gonna go take a bath. And what happens when he takes a bath? Now, I'm very unclear of what happened in this moment. Did he? At
Dude's
first
wearing probably like 100 pounds worth of metal and stepped off a ledge.
So at first I thought they were trying to insinuate, okay, this beast which we're going to talk about, pull them down. Watching it a second time, no, this motherfucker just stepped off. He's just gone. He's just again drowning. And Bo-Katan for a second time, and the third time in this episode, he gets saved by somebody. He's just such a doofus. It's just so funny that she had to go. And I just think it's such an anticlimactic thing of what's the end of our episode? Well, he steps off a ledge and he starts to drown, but Bo-Katan saves him. Oh, but there's a beast there. You know, the beast from Legends and Canon? Yeah, it's there. And we get a moment. It's really cool. End episode. And it's just like, oh boy. Like for story-wise, like I was just like, huh. So that's when Tara was like, holy shit. I was like, did I miss something? Did I miss a cameo? Did I miss a story beat? And so just again, Mando being my favorite lovable idiot in this episode. So good job, Din.
I would be surprised though if like that's all that's the only, maybe a better way to rephrase that is that there is no relevance to like what was the creature called? The
mythosaur.
Yeah, the mythosaur. Like if that was just it was like a fun little like, oh my god, we actually saw one, and like that's never mentioned again. I like almost again like I don't see him like interact with that creature, but like I almost took it like a Dune moment where he's like meeting this like, I don't know, like the start of like what the Mandalore culture is. And I could be completely wrong here. And, you know, like we could finish the season and that's never mentioned ever again that he like even interacted with that beast. I feel like I wouldn't be too surprised because of just some of the decisions that they made overall in the show. But I'm really hoping that is something that kind of comes back where I don't like, again, maybe like almost drowned and he like had like a near death moment that like totally changed him.
Going back
coming
in,
out the other
Bo-Katan jumps in.
You gotta see
like
this.
Frodo, don't look at the lights. She's like just diving headfirst with all this metal armor.
From what I saw from photos, Taylor, and you can kind of explain what this thing is, but it can leave water, right? Like it's not just waterbound and stuff. I feel like next week there's a good chance it like takes down one of the ships, like the bad guy ships. Like they're like if there's like doing a chase through and stuff like that, and then as it's going, like it does like a T-Rex Jurassic Park one where it grabs something and it's like, "Rah," and he's like, "That's my buddy."
Like the Mythosaurus. like that's where I said like holy shit, Travis, because I just wasn't expecting to ever see like a mythosaur like in live action. And
Like really,
eventually-
after she just like laid on so thick of like, oh, these we never saw one of these before. Like she gives
No,
I just feel
they just talked about them how they were extinct and like they were all wiped out and Mandalore was conquered.
And I'll have
So-
to ask Kirkland, but like when Bo-Katan is reading this whole like ledger about this beast, to me I was like, oh, we're seeing this beast. Like I hated that they did that. I wish they did that after because it like tipped the cap of, oh, in this fucking water, there's this creature in there. It's gonna happen. That's at least what I thought, and then it happened. So I was
thought
like,
that,
oh,
too.
yeah, it
It's-
just telegraphed it.
I just felt like it was just icing on the cake of her just like shitting on what she used to believe in. And I think that's what really sold it to me too, where that whole sequence leading up to where I did laugh when Din fell into the water, but like that sequence of him
like a
walking in,
child.
reciting his like oath, and just the expression on Bo-Katan, just seeing this pure like belief and dedication to the way of the Mandalore, and just how she kind of felt like that spark and rekindling to what it means to be a Mandalorian again, and that dedication. And I just love that because she was so in tune with what Din Djarin was doing. And immediately when he fell, yeah, she just dove in and saved it. But when that moment when she sees the eye of this mythosaur, and just like I feel like I could see her face behind her helmet. I love those scenes because it's so potently powerful.
Just
And
cross-eyed.
like the mythosaur, that's one of the most iconic, I dare say iconic Star Wars things ever. Like you'll see so many vehicles out there with the skull on the vehicle or just the sticker somewhere around.
I'd
I
say
got
the
it on my
logo.
vehicle.
I'd say the logo, but you go up to 10 people that have that logo. You say, "What is that
No,
thing?"
most
Like,
of
"Oh,
them
it's
don't
Boba
know.
Fett."
Well,
Boba
that's just
Fett.
it, Boba Fett, because
Yeah.
that's where it's like it started.
Boba
It's on
Fett,
his,
man.
it's
Boba
on his
Fett.
shoulder and all that jazz.
Love
But
that show.
like it's just it's such an iconic symbol.
Oh, when he did that spin thing. Fuck, I love it. Oh man, I love Mando
Danny
too.
Trejo. Oh man, I
He's be-
love him.
He's becoming more like Boba Fett every time. I love Mando. When's Danny Trejo coming in?
He smiles. Just has these huge veneers. This guy, this random guy.
Oh god, I forgot about the teeth. Oh man.
How can you? That was the biggest part of that show.
Because I try to block Boba Fett out of my brain, okay? I had a bad Star Wars day. I had this. And for some reason, while I was riding the bus, I was just remembering, I was like, man, remember how good that Kenobi premiere was and then how shit the show ended up being? Like, or just disappointing. I won't say shit, but I was just like, man, what sad times we were in. So that's cool that we saw it. I get what you mean now as far as the bigger ones. And yeah, I hope that they use it next week. But yeah, I guess it just wasn't surprising for me, and it felt like a fine ending. But again, I was just laughing because I was hoping that Din was just pulled down, but no, he just fucking he's just gone. She could have took the dark saber and been like, hey, I kicked his ass, took it from him, I'm the Queen of Mandalore again. Let's start this going. Even though what is it, a rule there? That place is a dump.
That's another thing too, where like yeah, she could have easily just killed him in combat there and taken it fair and square, but like she really doesn't care. She doesn't give like a shit anymore. Hence like her way she's acting in that first episode and even the start of this episode too. Like she just doesn't give a damn. But I like seeing this kind of like retie over and kind of like being like she's coming around a little bit again, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, but she ain't coming around. They're not having her fucking put on that helmet all the time again. They got an actual actress for this. She's not good. I'm very curious now that I don't know if it's still like what the angle is with her. I don't know if she's gonna be the antagonist. I just don't really. I'm not invested if that's just because that was one of the things with the trailer I thought was gonna be a thing, and I hope not. I'm not invested in her being the antagonist because in this episode I feel like we saw like. She's very kind to Grogu. She saved Din multiple times. She didn't have to. Like she could just sat on her throne. She told the guy like, "Hey, don't go there. It's dangerous." And he still went there. So it's like she has nothing to owe this man. So if they ever get on the other sides, I'm kind of like, I don't really believe this conflict. They have to do something very jarring for me to believe that. But I've said this since we got that like first teaser, and it still never made sense. I was waiting for the line of, "Oh, your dad's not the you thought your father was the only Mandalorian." It still makes no sense in the context of the show. When she kills a bunch of these aliens, she looks back and says that line. It's like, you just kicked people's ass. Does that mean for Grogu, like everyone that kicks ass is a Mandalorian? Like is fucking Grief Karga a Mandalorian? Like, so I'll still go on record. I waited for the show. I still hate that. You thought your dad was the only Mandalorian. Why? What's
I have
happening
an inkling that that she could die in this season. I feel like because
God.
she again, Katie Sackhoff has
That'll
been
make people
playing
mad.
Bo-Katan for a long time, all throughout Star Wars, like Rebels and Star Wars.
But not that
Clone
live
Wars.
action. Like only
No,
like
but
two
she-
episodes.
the character has been around for a very, very long time. And again, she was in season 2 live action, which is great. Now she's here in season 3. So if you ever pop off in season 3, like I could see her doing some sacrificial stunt or something like that to kind of further the story. But again, it depends. Like if they don't, like okay, then they're probably gonna keep her around as that antagonist and keep her around for maybe a long term kind of storyline or plan. Who knows? But I feel like they could have her do something to maybe have such an impact on Din Djarin's outlook of the removal of the helmet or the way of the Mandalorian, all that kind of like stuff. I don't know. I just feel like they're leading up to some character having a realization in their culture, whether that's Bo-Katan having this realization, what they insinuated with this episode, or it's Din Djarin having this realization about the bullshit with the armor and all their ways and stuff like that. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, because I definitely felt that way going into the season because of that trailer. It really seemed like she was going to be like a big antagonist and a big opposing force for our main characters here. But I feel like this episode, and like they could be doing this intentionally, but I feel like I really lost that thought now because of just like the way that she was either interacting with Grogu or the fact that not like she saved Mando multiple times in this episode. She also just had the Darksaber like in her hand. I feel like if she was going this route of like being a villain in the season, I feel like that would be a very opportune time for her to do that. But like I don't know. Like I really just feel like she is gonna be a trustworthy character going forward. But I could be completely wrong in that sense. It's just the way that she went about herself in this episode. Because like it's not like she's making plans to like overthrow Mando for like and like take the dark
she's
saber
always
like honorably.
It's your saber, right?
She's just chilling on her throne, like doing absolutely nothing. So she's probably looking for
Just
some companionship and just
wasting
some buddies
away.
to hang out with. So
Yeah.
and like I don't know, maybe there'll be a motivation that kind of reveals itself later on in the season. But for right now, it just I think it would kind of be weird in that sense. And I don't know who like the main antagonist of the season would be. I feel like the pirate person could be, but it's kind of I don't know. I feel like that's such a step down from like some of the other big antagonists we've had in this show so far. So, and again, maybe that's the reason that it is Bo-Katan and like there is some weird twist, but it feels weird if that is the case.
Well, yeah, it's like I don't really have much interest in Bo. Maybe you can get me there, but as of right now, I didn't have much interest before, and even after this episode, I have less interest. The Pirate King guy, it's like okay, maybe like he does look like a little funny and goofy. I think of him more as like a side boss, but okay, maybe there's some juice there. Really hope it's not Moff Gideon. I love Giancarlo, but like we had him quite a few now. So my hope is still somehow when you were talking about the allegiances, Taylor, my hope is somehow that it become, I don't know if they'll pull the trigger. I don't think they will, but I would love it if it became the armor and that group of people. Even if it wasn't fully antagonistic, but like, or like they go full bad, but something like that, just because I still think the armor is kind of shady. So I kind of hope, but that is a fun thing that there is an adventure there, but because I wonder, what will be the greater plot? And I guarantee you we'll still get a couple more episodes where it will just be an adventure, them doing some things and things like that.
Well,
So
if we look, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, like, I doubt, even though imagine if they did just a whole season of it's just mini adventures, which I don't even know if that would necessarily be a bad thing. It'd be weird because last season they really established like a continual story. So I wouldn't be opposed to a Mandalorian show. I kind of always thought that's what the Mando show was going to be at first, was just an anthology bounty hunter show of just him hunting bounties. And we got that for like a couple episodes of Mando 1, and then we moved along pretty quickly because we got Grogu, and I understood it. It was a great story point, but I would still love a season of just Mando being a hitman in space, like boom, done.
You think they can get back to that though? From like just
No.
I feel like
They've
every
gone
season,
too far.
they've gone too far. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was hoping that's what Boba was going to be, and Boba was something else entirely, so yeah.
That's what Boba was.
Well,
Right.
if we look at what could happen, I think again we got the Coruscant sequence too. That was shown in the trailers with the Camino Doctor, and then we also have what was the other scene?
The Camino. Oh, right, that
Um,
guy's in there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there because he's on Coruscant and he's in like the highway or whatever. And then we also have the scene where all the Mandalorians are saving I always Navarro, because you see them like jumping out of the gauntlet fighter, like Bo-Katan's fighter, and they're going down. And we don't know who they're
ODST.
fighting though. That's the thing. So there's gonna be some stuff going on.
My other worry is just like kind of like Moff Gideon, if it's him or I kind of tie them. My other worry is just that they find out like, oh, Mando still's Grogu, and we had him like we were testing him and cloning him. And again, like I know Grogu's there, and I'm fine with him doing the cute stuff. I like Grogu. I'm like Kirklin, where the cloud's always there. But I'll be very disappointed if the season just also relegates itself back to, oh, bad guys are after Grogu, you know, because it's like that we did that for 2 seasons, and that's my worry with seeing that clone guy. Because like what else would that guy have to do in this season? You know, like what? Because we met him through Grogu. He was testing Grogu. So that's my worry of like, what other ties does this character have? So I hope it's not X characters chase after Grogu. Mando saves him. You know,
I'm not saying you need to watch Bad Batch to understand Mandalorian by any means.
No,
but
fuck that. Don't trick me. I ain't watching no Bad Batch.
I am gonna say like the focus of this new season of Bad Batch and just the humans that are wearing
It shows
the
like
same
20, 25
Camino-
years in the future. You know?
I
Or
know,
in
but
the past.
it's still you have the Empire, and in both shows you have humans with Camino uniforms on. We're both working in cloning, and they're going hard with in the Bad Batch and what the Empire's doing with cloning right now, and the Camino humans kind of working on these things. I just feel like okay, like both episodes released side by side, and right now for the time being, so I just feel like they're intentionally trying to allow people to kind of get familiar with the cloning aspect and like this group and like what they're kind of up to and affiliated with. So I think we're not out of the woods yet with what they're going to try to do with Grogu. We know that Moff Gideon's coming back. I mean, what he said, I think in an interview, like Moff Gideon's like, rise from the ashes, like a phoenix rising from the ashes or something like that. I think he said in one of the articles. So yeah, we know he's coming back.
Damn it! That's what that's the fucking end. That's the end game of this season. I can feel because we're doing this stuff in the middle. We're gonna fight the Pirate King and be some other adventures, and at some point, I bet you Grogu might even get fucking kidnapped. And I guarantee you, because they don't show much in the trailers.
That's the change up though, because especially in this episode, it was really nice to see Grogu actually. He didn't need Mando. Like he actually took care of things himself. He got on the ship. He force blasted one of those Alamite things away.
He did get scared in the cave though, until Bo-Katan talked him up. Yeah.
That's true. But I really like that moment where he overcame that fear and just like stride forwards, which is really cool. But like he's not getting tuckered out doing like force pushes or anything like that anymore. Like he's
doing full flips here, man.
He's doing full flips. Yeah,
spry young man.
He's got the 2 years experience under his belt. So
2 years. I really like the conversation, or just the one-sided conversation that him and Bo had of like, oh, I knew a lot of Jedi. We used to be friends, and like, just like, you got the Force? How can you do the Force?
Like, you good with the Force?
Yeah, you good with
a weird
I knew
line.
lots of Jedi.
Yeah, like it was just like I kind of liked it again. Like, what is she expecting? This thing can't speak, but I like some of that. And like, if I was not positive enough on it already, like. All the Bo-Katan action stuff was fantastic in this episode. When she had her shield up, the Darksaber, and she was taking on like what Espub said, like that Robo Xenomorph. My goodness, she just looks like she's in such a higher class and Din and everything like that. Like she's just single-handedly destroying this thing, the alien. She could probably take on that fucking Mytho Beast if she wanted, you know. So I thought all the action there was great. Still, I've watched it for years because Clone Wars, but still live action. Just love her helmet. I love the design of her suit and everything. So for Bo-Katan, if you're a Bo-Katan fan, I feel like this is like a 10 out of 10 episode, or her content is, because I like that. And I like Katie Sackhoff a lot too. I've always have, and I like the character. I would like it more if she does just become like an ally, like the same way Cara Dune was for multiple episodes. Right, yeah, that died. She did so good, she died. No, but like, I would like if she was a friendly character that helped out. And I don't know how, part of me hopes that she somehow gets the Darksaber back. I don't know how that's going to happen. Maybe this year Moff Gideon beats Mando this time, so then she feels right that she can actually fight Moff Gideon for real. But then I just feel like they're once again just redacting season 2. Like, we got rid of Grogu, brought him back. She couldn't beat Moff Gideon. She beat him. Like, that's my worry. So, but I like Bo-Katan a lot, and I thought there was a good content here for some really cool stuff happening.
Yeah, because I haven't seen like Clone Wars or her inclusion, whatever other shows she's in. I feel like I've always probably from you guys, just heard like the legend of Bo-Katan, and I like she did have some nice moments last season for sure, but I feel like I was still waiting for that like selling point. Like why should I really care for this character? And this episode definitely sold me on that. Like there still is a lot more character stuff that maybe I just have to dive into Clone Wars to get those answers. Answer to those questions that I have for her, because I'm not sure how much time we'll really spend on like her particular story if it's already been told in a different show. But yeah, her action sequences were so badass. I haven't like seen her wear the helmet in so long. She always has it next to her, but I feel like I'm not looking at it in those scenes when she's on her throne. So to see it on her head here, she looks so badass. I love her style. Mando is looking so sweet with that side cape, but like I mean, throughout like this entire series, I've just loved like the variety of Mandalorian helmets and different armors, just shown there. It's really really cool, and they all, I think for the vast majority, they all look really really cool. I keep forgetting that like she has the gadgets that she has, whether it's like an addition, like another jetpack like Mando has, or her little shield thing there. I mean, it was badass to see her wielding that with the darksaber, but also like her slingshot thing, like that. I just think that's such a sweet ability to have, like just in different, I don't know, games or different like spy movie type things. So it was cool to see that for sure again here. And yeah, the action was just really really sweet, and she seemed like a pro Mandalorian here popping off.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I suppose I missed this good meme moment of "You're lying." The Mythosaur was the hero.
You got me chuckling.
Yeah, I missed that, but yeah, she has that energy when she's at the beginning of the episode when she's mad, but she's being friendly at the end, being a badass, stuff like that. So Taylor, I asked you because you had this idea of next week will be not so much a plot episode, more just another action escape from the Pirate King. I imagine Bo's in this obviously to help escape. After that happens, does she just disappear for a few episodes, or do you think she's in primarily in this season?
Primarily, yeah, you got
primarily
it.
In this season?
I think she will be sticking around for a little bit more because we get that scene of like these Mandalorians coming out of the gauntlet fighter. Like that's to me
the
that's
ones
like,
that left
okay.
her.
Yeah,
they're coming to take her out.
To me, like they're going to Navarro
You
for
saved him?
whatever purpose. I don't know. Just to do something. Maybe the Empire goes to attack Navarro because they think Grogu's there. So
Empire's
I don't
dead.
know.
Empire's
don't
dead.
know what's going on. So I don't think it's the last we see of her by any means after the next episode. I think she's going to be kind of reoccurring throughout most of this, and I hope for like our sake we get to see her and the armor get into a conversation with each other. I just think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So
that's why I would love those clashing with the styles and maybe trying to find some sort, because they were hinting at that when Mando's like, when he's talking about the creed and without what are we, and Bo's just like, hey, I don't care about any of this, but he did say like, look at us, we're all scattered all over this galaxy, we're not together anymore and stuff like that. So I would like it, even if it fails, if like her type of Mandalorian and the armor's type of Mandalorian try to have a conversation like, okay, how could we get to like we the people, we the Mandalorians, and like how could we bring that dynasty back, and whether that does happen, which could be hype, or that's what creates a big conflict because, you know, they both see things different ways. I agree with you. I really want to see Bo in the armor. I just want the armor more in general because I want them to shit or get off the pot with her. I just don't know, is she shady because that's just like a fun character trait they want to give her, but at the end of the day she's just always going to be a mission giver, or is that going to pay off and yeah, she's shady because of X, Y, and Z, and if you go against her, something's bad can happen. Because again, like I said last week, I still was very curious that she didn't ask a single question about Grogu. So that made me more think that she just kind of acts shady when the show needs her to be, but she's always going to be like on Din's side. Because she did save his life in season 1, right? When it was like, I think the finale, right? She like... So that's why I don't think there's going to be like a big heel turn coming for her. So if it was a, hey, let's get the Mandalorians back together and find some common ground, that could be fun. But, you know.
I could definitely see it going that route. However, like just with what happened what happened in last week's episode of her kind of, again, just giving Din another mission sort of thing of like going on his redemption quest. I still think with all like the pieces that we have in play of these like different factions of Mandalorians, like there definitely is room for that civil war conflict that like might not even happen this season. Maybe we're like just going to take our time and build up to it, and I think that could be done actually really well, because then we have a antagonist in a season that isn't just like clear like, oh, this is clearly the bad guy, like especially if they have like their own ideologies and what they think is correct. And I think that could be really fun if they play that well, because like we already have so many different like semi factions that are also kind of like not at their full strength. So I feel like there's a lot of room for people kind of picking a side and maybe like I don't know, switching side to like just oppose each other. So I would really like that villain more so than just like the Pirate King or you know, Moff Gideon coming back.
Maybe that's the fight on Navarro. It's just Mandalorians versus Mandalorians, and Karga's like, go, don't do this here.
Mando, what are you doing, man? Get these guys out of here.
Yeah, go away.
Not the school.
We came
It's a saloon, bitch. Yeah. Us
Fuck you,
Mandalorians
man.
get a drink here at all.
Kirklin, so not seeing the Clone Wars or Rebels, I guess, for that matter, when you saw Mandalore and the Citadel and all these iconic locations, like you haven't seen them really in their prime. You've only seen them in this form now, correct?
Yeah,
The
this is
shit
the first.
form, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen the shit form, and like because I haven't seen any of that, like I thought this like viewing in this episode, I thought that was really awesome, and them just like getting to the Mandalore system, him like kind of just filling Grogu in. It's like, see that planet, like that's where I was born. See that one over, or sorry, that moon, that's where I was born, and then that one over there, that's where Bo-Katan is. I just thought that was a really cool moment because I had never seen this area before, and then it's like he's like showing me for the first time, like, hey Kirkland, this is what Mandalore is. I've always heard it for so many years of like consuming Star Wars, and here it actually is. Obviously, it's not in its heyday, but I still thought it was a really cool appearance. I obviously saw it in the trailer, but I still think when they were flying around over like in low orbit, I thought it looked really good, and it was again not a pretty sight because it's just completely apocalypsed. But I really liked just that arriving to the Mandalore system. I thought that was really cool.
The Mines of Mandalore. I was getting some Fellowship
I was
of
getting
the Ring.
so many
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring,
Yeah.
especially when they like go in the water too, and it's
Mhm.
just like the creature is taking him, even though that's not the case. He just was wearing too many heavy clothes. But yeah, a lot of Lord of the Rings references were crossed my mind. They dug too deep and too greedily.
Din's definitely the Pippin of this universe.
So
Din Djarin.
in follow of what you said in the
Full of a
non-spoilers there,
Mando.
Travis,
Full of a
So-
Djarin.
when it comes to the darkness, I don't know what people are talking about because I had my lights on like this bright, and I watched it in my office, like on my computer screen, which is not my 4K.
Were you not working today? Were you just watching?
No, I worked today.
Okay.
But it's Star Wars, but
It clearly
I
is
didn't
something
have
because
any
I've seen a lot of
issues.
people bring it up, so it must be
Yeah.
something that
I-
other TVs and stuff. Except for me, it was certain scenes where I could see, but the two scenes that stuck out for me that were a little too dark was when Bo fought those aliens, like the ones that have like used to live on the surface. They have the green eyes, and then when we actually did see the Mythosaur, like the water when they were like looking around, it's like I can't see shit in here. I know it might be like, oh well, it's dark in water. That's not what you do in movies. Like you can for a second when it's like a jump scare, scary movie sort of thing. But like I feel like with this one, you're just trying to look around and find in. It's like, well, I don't feel any intensity here because I can't see anything on the screen. But the rest of the episode was fine. But like I said, I've just seen it brought up, so clearly maybe on some people's TVs, I don't know. And I don't want to be that guy because I hate it whenever I see
What are you, poor?
responses where it's like, yeah, no, it's that or it's like, well, something must be wrong with your settings. Go change your setting. It's like I don't know what you do to TV. Like I would say recommend, hey, maybe play with some settings, but we heard that all throughout Game of Thrones too, right? People being like, I had my settings as bright as could be, and this is dark as shit. So it all depends on how you're watching it, what TV and stuff. But yeah,
And-
so the few moments were dark for me. But
And there's enough people like talking about it that like yes, I can definitely like there was moments going on when I was able to see everything, but I was also watching like basically in a setting like this where it's super dark, so I didn't have like glare. But I think if it like I don't know, if I had some dust on the screen too, it was a sunny day, those rays coming in, I probably would have had a hard time seeing it. And like I feel like I was able to discern all those moments. The Mythosaur sequence, it was a little murky, but I feel like that definitely was intentional of just this like underwater creature that you don't get to see very clearly because it's just like you're in that Bo-Katan's perspective of her just underwater with the lamp. I
was fine
rewound
with
it just because I
that.
wanted like a better view of it. I'm like, that's like fucking Loch Ness Monster. What was that thing?
it's just when she's actually looking for Din, I couldn't see anything and stuff.
Oh, I didn't
like
see
that.
him. Well,
Yeah. Well, what was shining on him? Because she saw something that was like blue shining. What was that?
I thought it was
Just the
his
light
headlights
reflecting?
on his helmet.
Oh, his headlight. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Should have kept that jetpack on because it was weird that he like disrobed a bunch of stuff.
I
But
thought he was gonna go start.
I thought he
naked,
was
to be
gonna go
honest.
full naked without the
Cock
helmet
out.
though. Just keep the
just
helmet on.
hard
just ass
cock
naked.
out. Yeah, just,
Master cheeks.
hey, Bo. Yeah, like because it is. It is weird because her jetpack works in the water. Why did he take off that stuff but not the rest? Because like it's weird that I guess you just cleanse your suit, I guess, and that is what makes it happen. Again, also he could just go back. He could never go on Mandalorian and just told the fucking armor like I did it. I went in the waters. It was great. Like there's no like way to prove what he did. But yeah, I was
You could
surprised it
smell it on
was.
him.
Yeah. Oh, the waters. But I just like I thought we were gonna get him disrobed everything, or at least the helmet, at least. But no.
I thought for sure he was going to take off the helmet there. We're going to see Pedro again. I thought that was going to be a big moment for sure. But at the same time, I feel like it would have been weird if like Bo-Katan and Grogu were just there because the whole thing is like he has to redeem himself because he showed his face to
Yeah.
someone. So
Go around the
it
corner.
was kind of weird. But I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want to clog up the jetpack. But again, to your point, like Bo-Katan kept hers on and it worked there. I understand the cape, keep that nice and pristine, not all wet.
Take yourself in the waters. Yeah. Need
I
some
like-
sort of picture.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hard cock out. I've seen everything.
It's just
dude.
like a dick pic. There's like a huge just cock.
Underwater. I'm here in the Mandalorian bathing waters.
I like that the not only was it Din Djarin's kind of attempt at like retribution, I guess you could say, but or like reconnecting with this redeeming. That's the word. Thank you. But it's also
Retribution, something that's
retribution,
like,
yeah.
boom, boom,
Just
fuck
murders
you.
the mythosaur.
You don't believe, Bo? I'll make you believe.
I like
Retribution
that
for my
it's also applied to Bo as well because she clearly went into those waters, so she got her redemption.
That doesn't
too.
count.
I'd say
Doesn't
it counts
count.
too. Absolutely.
No,
She
that'd
went
be
in
like if you
there-
go to church on Sunday, like I go to church, but if the church was burning down, I had to save someone. It'd be like, look, Travis went to church on Sunday.
But the
Not
Mandos
same
aren't dipping
thing.
in the waters all the time. It's like if you do something wrong, then you go to church and recount for your sins. If you do something wrong, then you go to the waters and
Some people
recount
take
your
that as
sins.
church. Some people take that. Some people just go to church to say their Hail Marys, right?
Oh, totally. And that's
what-
here-
that's what Din
here
was
without-
doing.
If she, whether Bo-Katan knew it or not, she went into those waters and got like cleansed, just
No.
like
That's
Din
against
Djarin
her
did,
will,
too.
cleansing. I'm not for that. She has to choose. She's not cleansed.
Well, I
Oh,
feel
dirty bird.
She is.
because
No,
the
she's
episode
not.
ended so quickly after that occurrence, I think there is going to be something in Bo-Katan that, like, her perspective is going to be changed. Not even
Especially
just
after
like,
the mythosaur sighting too.
well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like that right there, like, the way that she was reading off that plaque of just like whatever it said on there, basically just saying
Someone's
there's a
coming.
mythosaur in there. Like I feel like because she's just disregarded these legends as just childhood stories at this point, like we were talking earlier, like she's just so done with this whole Mandalore thing, even though like that was just such a big part of her. I think seeing that, it's like you're seeing a unicorn that someone just said like, no, those aren't real, and then you like believed at one point, and then you just swallowed that pill that is not real, and then you actually see it, and it's just like, oh my god, like I have to rethink my entire life right now. And I'm hoping there is, I'm not gonna say she's like a complete 180 character going forward, but I hope that has a big impression on her, because I think it should. I think even if you're not a Mandalorian, if you see the mythosaur, I feel like that is like an otherworldly sighting. There is a lot of crazy creatures in Star Wars, but that is like symbolically is a big deal, especially for Mandalorians. So
It's like catching Santa Claus as an adult. It's like, holy shit, you're fucking real. It could break her mind. She could just go insane.
Get down, Santa. Get down. I'm gonna retribution you. That's all my notes for this episode. Simple episode. Not too much happened. Like a lot happened, but not too much at the same time. All contained. You know.
Yeah, I thought we mentioned the Bo-Katan fight. I really like Mando's pop off on the Ammonites. What are they called? Something like that. Ammonites, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
green-eyed
Alamites.
The green-eyed folk. I thought him just popping off there, like wielding the darksaber. That was a really cool sequence too. The darksaber's been kind of a sleeper weapon for him, so it's always nice to see him unsheath that thing. And again, like that was a moment where I thought the fights were like, it looked really good. just like fight choreography of these like creatures just like popping out of like the ceiling or whatnot, and then just slinging down like the cliffside. Again, very Lord of the Rings thing. It's like when Legolas is just sniping those goblins and they just like fall down the mine. I was getting a lot of similarities there, but the moment when Din sent off R5 to go like collect data, this was a moment when I thought that it was just dragging on a little long. Like it seemed like it was a long moment for Din to explain to Grogu what they were gonna do of like sending the droid there, and then it was a long time to get the droid down there, which like is fine. I feel like some of those little interactions were funny and cute, where like the R5 was just like nervous and then looked back and didn't want to do it, but it just seemed to like go on a little bit long, and then like the whole reason why they were doing it was just weird to me, because I don't know why he had to like just go around this corner to like collect the data. Was it because he was collecting data for like the caverns? Is that what it was?
He had to go into the caverns and get readings down below.
Yeah, because remember, he comes after, it's near the end
Fair,
of that scene.
okay.
He's like, it's breathable. Remember, like, because he's checking for Grogu as well. They're checking the toxicity and stuff. So
Okay, I definitely missed that then, because it was like when they read the data, it's like back at the ship again. I'm like, couldn't you just like test it right there? I don't know. It was just weird, and I think just like the amount of time it took to just do that, and then what ended up happening. Well, Mando just ended up going to the cave himself, which we knew was gonna happen. He's gonna go to these mines, and I also just found it weird that he had to like see if the air was breathable. I like in retrospective now, I understand that it's because of Grogu. Like Grogu doesn't have like a helmet or whatnot. But when he's like, "Is the air breathable?" I'm like, "You're wearing a fucking helmet, man. Like you can be in space."
And he's not
It's just
stripping
weird to
later.
me. Yeah, he's not stripping later. He's not getting his hard cock out. So and I think there's another moment too when they were just like descending, like. This is where I was saying I feel like I'm kind of calibrated now in just like the pacing of the show, because it is like a lot of those moments of them just kind of walking somewhere, maybe dropping some lines, and then we get like those PowerPoint like transitions, which are just all over Star Wars, which is fun.
they're going
like them.
ham this episode. I thought there was like 3 back-to-back in quick succession that I was like, whoa, I'm dizzy right now. There's so much going on.
Yeah, and like in those moments when they would happen, I'm like, what was that scene? Like I didn't get anything out of it, but then it's I kind of, like I said, I'm calibrated now. It's like, no, this is what the show is. We have these like slower moments of them just traveling, which in my mind I feel like we don't necessarily need that. We could just prune that and shorten the episode down a little bit, but
I just picture Kirklin watching this show, and every time there's a transition, just in his house, just like, what was that scene? What was it? Just like yelling at his
just
TV.
crushing beers like alone. What the fuck
What
is that? Yeah,
happened?
throwing cans at the screen.
Fanboy Clay, and Fanboy Clay's right about this. He says everyone's talking about when Grogu will eventually be talking, of course, because of what Paley said. I'm just saying, praying no Chris Pratt Grogu. It won't be Pratt. I think it will be. It's a B.
Mushroom
Tatooine,
Kingdom.
here we come.
Yeah, damn, I was gonna do that. Yeah, Mandalorian, here we come.
I want that so bad now.
Mushroom
edit that.
Kingdom, here we come.
Especially
I'm
like
gonna say no out,
Mando's speaking so much more than he did in like the early parts of the season, because he just has someone to talk to in Grogu. Like it's not just him on his own. Like,
Just imagine, yeah. Just imagine a scene.
a couple seasons down the line.
No, not even like next episode. They find out the Pirate King's going back to Navarro to fuck it up, and he's like, "Bo, we gotta go there." She's like, "Yeah," and then all of a sudden Grogu just goes, "Navarro, here we come," and they just look at him like, "What?" And then it fades
And
to
it goes
black.
the,
into
that
the
goes
next
no, it
episode.
goes the PowerPoint like transition.
Yeah, and he's just talking like a motherfucker. Oh, I've been watching this whole time. I couldn't believe it, man. Your cock's
He's
really
like
hard.
Donkey from Shrek.
Yeah, in the morning we're making blue milk. Yeah, I think there's actually a good chance he might say his first word at the end of this season because that him. But also just I feel like in general he's making more noises. He's making more like like I feel like he's just making sounds more than he used to. So I feel like it might happen. Yeah, and I feel like his first word's probably gonna be like Din or Mandalorian or something related. You know?
Not Mushroom Kingdom.
No, I just saw this movie. He's like watching Mario.
I love it.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we go. Every time he lights up his lightsaber, everyone's like, "What the fuck is Mushroom Kingdom?" Oh, it's something from that planet Earth. There's a movie about a plumber. It's based off a game. He's a plumber. Yeah, it's a whole thing and stuff like that.
I'd love it if he said like Order 66 or something like that. I know he would never say would, but
And he just turns around and
Order
just kills. That's how the show ends. He kills Din. He's at a plant his whole time. No, he's not gonna
tell
say
me about
Order
these Jedi you once knew.
Yeah, Jedi, Order 66. He's not just gonna say Order 66. He's not gonna say that.
There was one moment when the
Order 66. Here we come.
the Robo Xenomorph, which again, like you mentioned, the design of it looked really cool. I loved how it was almost like a Transformers moment where it dies or like loses its vessel, and then like the little head just like pops off like a scuttle crab or something and just goes off. That was really cool. Very like Matrixy of just this like robotic entity. That was really cool. But when it was like stripping Mando of his weapons and like threw the Darksaber down, for a moment I'm like, oh my god, Grogu's just gonna like force pull the Darksaber,
Like
just
Rey in
fucking
Force Awakens.
do like a Yoda like triple front flip thing and just like absolutely pop off.
Holy shit.
Kills the mythosaur by himself. Just he is the
It
king
crossed
of
my
Mando
mind
now.
because I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Grogu's got to get a lightsaber at some point. What's like, is he gonna get a green one or something?
He'll go back
then
and
Luke-
rob Luke. He'll rob
Yeah,
Luke.
Luke offered. He can't get that lightsaber now. No, Luke's just gonna mail it to him at some point. It's like, I have no other students that have the small hands. Here you go.
I know it was a big decision moment, but we don't care about that in the show. So
Yeah.
they'll
They'll redo that scene from Last Jedi where Luke will be sleeping and he'll like open his eyes and roll over and Grogu's there with his Darksaber. Yeah.
Mushroom King.
Order 66. Your father lived through it. You're not gonna either. But
Well, just to piggyback on what you were going there, Kirkland, that cyborg like thing down below, like some people were saying in the Discord, like General Grievous. I
It
see
had
other people
Grievous
saying it
vibes.
online too.
Yeah.
It did, yeah. I was
Yeah.
getting. The
I'm not
sense,
saying it
like,
is Grievous.
It's
Calm
General
down,
Grievous.
people, with that. Yeah,
Grievous'
calm
son.
down. Yeah, Grievous.
I was really enjoying how it felt like, and this is from the Maul arc where Savage Opress. You might remember this, Travis, when Savage goes to this trash planet, follows like the snake goes in, and Maul's like insane. It just felt like very much like that kind of a setting down there. The way it was like color and aesthetic, really, really liked it.
And like, what is that thing? Is it just robot? Does it have some alien? Because it looked like it had some skin. Like, is it a Grievous situation where it was an alien, now it is a robot? Like, I've not seen anything like that. And again, that was just super cool. I was kind of disappointed it got killed off so easily because I would have loved it just to be a full boss. But I thought effects wise, it looked pretty good for the most part. But yeah, I love the kind of like amoeba sort of idea. Amiibo? What is it? Because amiibo is the Nintendo thing, right? Or what?
Amoeba.
Amoeba. Yeah, I like that. Just kind of like, it just like obviously not the shape thing, but it just can like spam or almost like a worm, like what Kirk was talking about, how you like cut a worm in half, but then like can be two and stuff. Like, I guess I was disappointed because I felt like, oh, this is gonna be something that could be hard to kill, but then Bo shows up and just destroys it. General Grievous meets the Thing. The Thing, yeah, that's a very good. Oh, the Thing is just fucking perfect. That's actually the best comparison yet. But yeah, like I love seeing Bo popped off. That was great. I just kind of wish it stuck around longer because I thought it was gonna be harder to kill. But yeah,
This
I
just
like
says like
that eye.
looks
It's
like
great.
Resident Evil or something like that.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say that's exactly what I was gonna
weird.
say. Resident Evil.
It's very way more sci-fi than most Star Wars stuff, but it worked here in these like barrens of the Mandalore planet.
It's definitely human of some kind, maybe a Mandalorian.
alien.
Or an alien, yeah.
Fuck.
It's Darth Tanabris. I feel like if you take the Matrix example, like you can see just a full-on robotic creature like being super creepy in in the sense that it was used, I guess, in those movies, and just the super dark setting. But the fact that they like threw on like that biological eye, it just makes it so much different. Because I didn't even think of Grievous at the time, but yeah, that is a great comparison. Of just what is it, and like did it start that way? Did it start as like an actual biological thing and then turn into the robot, or did like something fuse it together? I have no idea. It was just a mystery, and I feel like that makes it so much creepier, not knowing what it was. And I was kind of expecting to see like multiple of them, like, or if there was like a couple of them, I don't know, working together, bouncing around. But I like just the way that it first came out of like that giant like tank form, and then just kind of slithered down. Part of me kind of thought Grogu was gonna find a way to just like take over that tank thing, because it was like he seemed similar size at least at the time, and then all of a sudden this thing like stands up and it's like, oh, this is just a regular sized creature. But I guess he did go into it just in like the Scuttle version later on. So
Yeah.
I don't think Grogu probably would have been able to turn it on though. It's probably like hardwired into that thing.
The that thing just we touched upon it earlier, but yeah, when it just stuck him with like that needle like into his side, and then just the fluids, like it was a prolonged scene of the fluids
it's
going
gross.
through the tubes. Like this is this is some dark shit. Like this is like what is Mary say, like dark magic, Sith magic, or whatever. Like what does he say? That's
Cloning.
Yeah,
Dark magic.
Yeah, that's
Only
it.
powers the Sith knew.
That was some of that shit going on right here.
Somehow, this machine has returned. I better get that in the finale of this episode. But yeah, great design. Very cool. It's not something I need, like, I don't want to say, oh, I want to see it again, because I feel like it's unique here. I wish we just got more of it. But at least with this season, when I look back on positives, the design of this thing and the aura of it is just very cool and very well done. So shout out to the team there.
And like when that scene was going on, because Bo and Grogu were like just around the corner, basically ready to save him, and I thought the creature was just gonna like pull out the needle, get close, like our protagonist is like almost in danger, and then just the help comes in, but like no, he fucking just poked him and like started taking the fluids and really fucking him up. I'm like, wow, like it's a good thing they got there when he did, because he probably would have just been a dried prune if they waited that much longer. Because Chongalorian was not able to get himself out of that.
No, he was dead to rights. He's just chilling, just hanging out.
Oh,
and
hey,
stuff.
Bo.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
My last note. Did you guys know where his droid came from? Like where that droid first premiered?
No.
No, I don't.
This is the same droid that Luke almost bought with Uncle Owen in A New Hope.
Really?
Oh, wow. Is
Bad
it the
motivation.
exact
Didn't it, like,
same
break?
model, though?
It's supposed to be the exact same droid, yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
Did it
Well, he never
did it,
left
like
out a wing.
backfire or something? He's
too
like, what the
small.
hell
He
is
had
this?
a bad motivator, yeah. So the Jawas took him back, fixed him up, and then
It's just you
with Miss
tell.
Frizzle now.
That's
Yeah,
fun. I think that's fun. It's not like
I
a
don't
big
know.
deal or anything.
It's
not.
It's a ruined Star Wars for you, Travis.
Yeah.
No, it's just like it's just that like coincidental thing. Like it's the same. Well, I would like if it's the same model, but like the exact same one after like 30 years or 20 years. I guess
She probably
10
dated one of
years.
those Jawas that was, fixing them up, and
Yeah.
I guess they all technically died.
I'll allow it. I just some of that stuff gets a little too cute for me. Where it's like, all right, it's the same droid as that one. Cool.
When she was going full Jawa, she was like very fluent in it. That,
Oh, I
like,
love
just
that.
maybe take a double take. I'm like, man, like she's really pulling that off, and it sounds good. It's not like she's just singing gibberish there. Did she always did she always have a missing tooth, or did she just get like punched in the face last season? I didn't see.
Jawas
Like
messed
when the
her
ship
up.
was coming down, her mouth was just like wide open, and I just saw this missing tooth, and I'm like, I've never noticed that before. Maybe she just doesn't open her mouth enough.
I don't
Gotta watch
recall
Book
it,
of Boba
but
Fett.
it could. Right, yeah. You gotta watch Skeleton Crew to find out why she lost her tooth. And
You
that
serious?
acolyte will.
Because I've seen that. I've seen
No.
Book of Boba.
No kidding.
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't recall it, but it could be there. So
Just gonna talk to Boba. Who's your tooth guy? He needs some work done.
yeah, he's the perfect guy to go to. Fuck.
You should fix that. Your mouth is fucked.
Yeah. Let's see. R2 lasted before Family and Rise of Skywalker. Yes, but as Kirkland pointed out when we met this droid, he was fucking like just combusting at the seams by himself. He wasn't even in a battle. He wasn't going through his stuff. It was just like, I'll take this droid. You put your hand on him. He's like, oh, fuck. Like, clearly something was wrong with this droid. And now he works to go on this Mandalorian
Well, he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go on the mission. I think that.
Not saying
that
he
goes
wanted to
hand
go,
in
but
hand.
he stills the burn marks. Of course, he stills the burn marks. So there you go. So yeah, I
Some
guess
scars never heal, Travis.
I yielded. I said it's fine, but at first when I hear it, it's just like, ugh, like I don't know. It just is like it just feels like that, like, But I'll give them credit. It's not in your face too much. It's just. Yeah, it is what it is.
I wouldn't like it if she was like, yeah, I got this awesome Jawas, a bad motivator that some family of farmers didn't want to buy it. I'd be like, okay, that's really bold, but yeah, they don't
Those
even
farmers
talk
got
about
fucked
that.
up and everything.
Yeah, they got
They
killed.
got
guess-
burnt up. Their bodies right here. I got them.
It's just that small world Star Wars things that they do sometime that like Grogu's now met Luke, and this is the droid that Luke and his uncle touched and almost bought, and now they have the droid. It just sometimes just like shrinks the universe of like Galaxy Star Wars is so big, but there's only one droid that they both. It's just like all right, I guess. Like I said, there's worse examples of it. This one I get past, but it's just kind of one of those. I think sometimes Favreau and Filoni get too much of that, like, oh,
Yeah.
at least right here, a little there, and it's just like, did it need to be that droid? Again, it doesn't ruin my thing, but it's just like, okay, I get it. We're trying hard here.
It's a fair point for sure, because I feel like that is a big thing in Star Wars, of it just being this vast galaxy but still feeling really small. Like, how come we've never seen different biomes on these planets? You know, it's always just like the one biome that we see, and that is the entire planet. It's like, this is the capital of the planet, which is like fine. It like, it's a part what makes Star Wars fun, and just Star Wars what it is. And I totally like love it for that reason, but I feel like your point is very, very fair, of just sometimes like these creators that are putting on these shows, they try too hard to piece it together, which like sometimes it is fun, like me hearing like that it is that same droid. I think that is fun, but it's not really needed in this giant galaxy that we have so many different R5 or like R units. What like it doesn't have to be that, but.
And it's tough when the little stuff does that too, because you got stuff like the sequel trilogy, right? Where when Rey now ends up being the granddaughter of Palpatine, it just happened like, well, she happened to bump into BB-8 and find Finn, and now she's in this adventure. Oh, she happens to be related to Emperor Palpatine and stuff like that. And I know we did that with Luke, and that's why I'm like, okay, we did that once. That was the original. So it just sucks when, for me, and it's not big stuff. It doesn't take it down, but it's like when the big stuff and the little stuff, it's always like this small world of like huge galaxy, but it's really just like this like little pocket of planets that we keep going back to and stuff like that. And hopefully it won't change. It's gonna be this way forever.
Clay makes a good point here, and I can't remember which book or where I heard this, but I'm familiar with this as well. That R2D2 convinced that droid R5 to blow his motivator, fry his motivator, so that R2 could carry out his mission.
Oh, that's awful. I hope that's not true. If that I hate those. There's another one like that shit's so stupid. I think Clay's probably referring to those books where it's like mini stories of like the. What it was that? It's like On a Sunrise, or what are those? It's like, remember there was one that had like a bunch of mini stories of different characters in the original trilogy.
Oh, like Greedo's girlfriend and stuff.
Yeah, that was stupid. And just like the other one where it was just like they made it that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon talked, but now it doesn't matter because, from a certain point of view, those books, fuck those books. All those books to me come up with like the dumbest shit of like, we're gonna like, I don't like it. I'm not a defender of George Lucas. I'm fine he sold the sequel. I'm not this guy being like, it should have been George Vision, but like, leave his shit alone. Stop doing, be like, well, you know what? Actually, in George's story, he meant R2 to go talk to that droid and told him to blow his show. No, that's not what George was thinking at all. Stop doing this. Stop making this original stuff. Like, create new shit. Create your own new stories and everything like that. Make that something else in a book. But the fact that R2 went and talked to this droid, the fact that Han Solo stole Greedo's girlfriend, it's like, why? Stop doing this. The fact that like Obi-Wan talked to Qui-Gon right after Aunt Beru and Uncle Ben died, or Uncle Owen, and like, oh, that's the boy. It's just like, stop doing these. I hate, like, I get it. The writers are trying to do this, but it's, maybe I'm out of line. And this is the best thing I always try to say, that like these are just what ifs, so I can be it that way. But when Star Wars tries to be like, well, it's all canon, and like it's not, because they'll backpedal and be like, well, this was canon until we changed it in a comic book. So it's just like, fuck. It's just like. From a certain point of view, destroyed my childhood.
All caps, destroyed.
Yeah, like that's. I'm not trying to be that guy, but it's just, and that's the thing. If you like them, sure. I just read them like, this is dumb. This is dumb. This is just like, they're little things where it's just like, why? I'm not trying to defend the writers, but like, why is that a plot point? Hey, I'm writing this short story in a Star Wars book. Okay, cool. What it's about? Well, in my story, the part where the droid blows up, well, actually what happened was R2 and Owen whispered to him and said, you should blow up so I can save the galaxy. It's just over explaining shit. It's so stupid. It's giving a reason for, it's like, no, the same reason we're talking about the coincidence of Luke has to be on this planet. It's supposed to be like kind of everything happens for a reason, right? But no, it's the same thing as like whatever you feel about with Rogue One. You can say it's a great movie, that's fine. But now it's like, oh no, Palpatine and the crew weren't just egotistical and dumb to leave a little hole in the ship. There's this whole backstory of a dad trying to get his daughter and fuck the Empire, and he purposely made a bad schematic on this machine. So but you look at George's movie, it was just, oh yeah, they made an error and they left it like they made an error on the ship and that's how we can take it down. But now there's a 2.5 hour backstory of why there's an error in this ship, and it's just yeah.
Unnecessary.
So
That was
I think there's
awesome.
only 3 good ones. Yeah, I haven't read them all because I think I'd be annoyed the whole time, stuff like that. But anytime I see
pages
snips,
out of the book.
I
do like
see
a comic book versions, but for a certain point of view,
Oh
just
my
to get more rants, because this is fun.
God.
I'm getting like
That'd be
back-to-back days of Star Wars rants from first Taylor, now Travis. Maybe me tomorrow. We'll see what happens in the news.
yeah, certain point of view being adapted, directed by Ryan Johnson, you know. So, but yeah, there you go. And if you like those books, you like those stories, that's cool. That's fine. I prefer them always
It's
when
all
they're like in the.
subjective.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, it's that it is, and I feel like I can't say that because Ray's just like a ghost gonna pop out as somewhere, you know.
You say it 3 times, he just pops over your shoulder.
Best 2-hour backstory ever. Yeah, and that's what I just don't want, where everything in Star Wars happens because of one little thing. But you know what? It doesn't matter. George didn't write that stuff, so to me, that's not canon. Technically, all in my mind, I just say the 2015 these are all just what if stories, you know, and that's fine. So, anything else?
Negative.
There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you thought of this episode. Let us know about your favorite certain point of view stories or the reverse, because I'd love to hear.
Recommend
ones that
one,
you were-
too.
Yeah,
I want to get a
recommend
good
one,
recommendation.
Yeah, see what other fucking shit they're changing out there. Oh, Darth Maul wore these shoes because they were from Darth Vader's mom's whatever.
You only wear shoes without laces because of the storyline that happened.
Yeah,
and the
R2
conversation that he
whispered
had.
to him. Don't wear
R2's
shoes,
just
wear
this like
Velcro.
puppeteer of the entire Star Wars universe. He's just like whispering these little secrets into people's ears that gives them motivation. Execute Order 66.
Grogu, executed. Well, we'll be back next week with some more Mandalorian, and I promise you it will not be boring. May the Force be with you.
Always.